You people are the best. You're the best. I don't think I've told you that in quite a while, but you people are the best. Seriously. I know I'm here every day, but I appreciate you being here every day. I really do. I appreciate your listening. I appreciate your emails. I appreciate the, nice reviews. I don't really appreciate the not nice reviews, but I don't get those that many, which is another reason that you people are the best. Anyway, let's do a thing.
This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple sets the next earnings report, security updates you should get quick, and a bit of worry behind the wheel. It is Tuesday, the 11th of July, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Use code MacOSKen50 at factormeals.com/MacOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. This show is also sponsored by Issue, the all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital content. If the PDFs you're putting out seem sort of lackluster, Issue can help take them from flat to fantastic. Newsletters, catalogs, magazines. Issue lets you turn those into interactive digital publications and social posts for everyone across a number of platforms. That's email, social sites, embeds, lots of platforms without a lot of work. With Issue, you can create once and share everywhere. And you can do it all with a lot of the tools you are already using. Issue folds seamlessly with Dropbox, InDesign, MailChimp, and more. Get started with Issue today for free, or sign up for an annual premium account and get 50% off when you go to issue.com/podcast and use promo code MacOSKen. That's ISSUU.com/podcast and use promo code MacOSKen at checkout for your free starter account or 50% off an annual premium account. That's issue.com/podcast with promo code MacOSKen. What are you doing on Thursday, the 3rd of August? If you said listening to Apple's third quarter fiscal year 2023 earnings call, nerd! Also, me too. Apple updated its investor page Monday to let the world know when those numbers will hit. Apple will release the data via press release after the closing bell, so just after 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. A piece from Apple Insider has analysts looking for revenue of $81.7 billion on earnings per share of $1.19. Once the numbers are out, Apple analysts and Apple execs will gather by phone for a bit of the old Q&A. That'll happen at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. A piece from 9 to 5 Mac lists the 3 new Macs Apple introduced in June as likely topics of conversation. Of course, they were only available for about 2 weeks of the quarter, so they're not likely to have moved the needle much. Analysts may also ask about Apple Vision Pro, due out next year, and expectations for the iPhone 15 line, anticipated mid to late September. But those are future products, and Apple doesn't tend to spend a lot of time talking about those. Actually, my bad. Apple doesn't like to talk about unannounced products. So maybe they'll talk about Vision Pro and who knows about the iPhone 15 line. And now I do that thing I do, remind you that you can hear the call as it happens, again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, the 3rd of August. That'll stream through Apple's site. It'll be made available as a podcast soon after. Bloggers will blog, threaders will thread. Oh yeah, I said it. And of course, we'll hit the numbers here on Friday, the 4th of August. If you've got an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac, you've got important security updates available. Apple on Monday did the rapid security response thing. You've likely got some idea what those are, but just in case, Apple says rapid security responses deliver important security improvements between software updates and are available only for the latest versions of iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. In addition to keeping your security ship shape, the company says the rapid security response updates may also be used to mitigate some security issues more quickly, such as issues that might have been exploited or reported to exist in the wild. And that brings us to yesterday. According to Apple's security updates page for the iOS, iPadOS, and macOS releases, the update addresses a Webkit vulnerability that could lead to arbitrary code execution. The company says it is aware of a report that this issue may have been actively exploited. By default, Apple says your device automatically applies rapid security responses. If necessary, you will be prompted to restart your device, or it might just restart for you, as my Mac Mini did while I was typing that last sentence. Timing is the key to comedy. While the rapid security response updates are only for the latest operating systems, the issue exists for older versions of macOS as well. The good news is there is a quick fix for that too. Apple's security page had the company releasing Safari 16.5.2 on Monday. Crafted for macOS Big Sur and macOS Monterey, the latest Safari update addresses the same wild and out there WebKit issue. Sowing seeds of the future, a piece from Mac Rumors says Apple on Monday made the 5th betas of iOS and iPadOS 16.6 available to developers. Other reports say same goes for macOS Ventura 13.5, watchOS 9.6, and tvOS 16.6. What's next? Betas for the public testing program? Yeah, probably. Eyes peeled. App Store prices are going up in Egypt, Nigeria, Tanzania, and Turkey. Apple Insider says the Cupertino company emailed developers Monday, letting them know of regional tax changes that'll send their prices north. The email indicates that pricing for apps and in-app purchases, excluding auto-renewable subscriptions, will be updated for the 4 countries. The changes are said to include the introduction of a value-added tax of 14% in Egypt, the introduction of a value-added tax of 18%, and a digital service tax of 2% in Tanzania, and the increase of the value-added tax from 18% to 20% in Turkey. No indication in the piece as to what's happening in Nigeria. Interestingly, podcasters got a similar notification from Apple. I know because I'm a podcaster. Not sure you've heard. Podcasters with paid subscriptions through Apple Podcasts were informed that their proceeds would be adjusted to reflect the value-added tax changes mentioned earlier for Egypt and Tanzania. The email also included a link for podcasters wanting to adjust their subscription pricing based on those changes. You know who's happy with CarPlay? Porsche. Apple Insider says Apple's in-car infotainment system has gotten more functionality thanks to an update to the car maker's own My Porsche app. As part of the update, says the piece, drivers can now see images of the specific model of car they're driving within CarPlay, sound profiles, radio station controls, climate control, and ambient lighting. Using quick actions in CarPlay, the various settings can be set inside wellness mode such as relax or warm up, and can be summoned using Apple's virtual assistant. Quoted in a press release on the update, Porsche Digital CEO Matthias Ulbrich said his company is excited to further improve the My Porsche app and using the capabilities of Apple CarPlay to deliver a truly enhanced customer experience. You know who's not happy without CarPlay? At least some GM dealers. A piece from 9to5Mac has some of those folks worried about the direction General Motors is driving with future electric vehicles, specifically the decision to kick CarPlay to the curb. Back in March, GM announced that future electric vehicles would not have access to Apple's automotive automation solution. The car maker has opted to go with a custom-built solution from Google, rather than giving buyers choice. Of course, buyers do have a choice. They can choose not to buy GM. And they can also just end up hating the in-car experience. The piece cites a report from the Detroit Free Press that's got a secret so-and-so said to be close to a number of GM dealers kind of freaking out. Quoting the secret source, "CarPlay's not broken. Why fix it? The risk of failure is very high. I don't even know the name of GM's new system, much less what benefits our customers can expect. Nobody has had any communication from GM. What am I supposed to tell my customers? The new system can't just work. It has to be the best in the market. It's got to be better than CarPlay. Why are we doing this with the launch of our most important new vehicles? Shouldn't all the resources devoted to developing it have been spent on launching the actual vehicles? There's an infinite number of ways this could go bad." That was all from one person, said to be in contact with a bunch of other people. That said, they weren't the only one from whom the Free Press heard. 9 to 5 Mac has the paper saying GM dealers and salespeople are concerned the change will cost them money too. Complaints about a vehicle or its features can reduce payments that they get for customer satisfaction, potentially costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. "We would hate for there to be a hiccup in the launch of these key new products," one said. "We have a lot riding on this." 5 years ago, I had a friend who had a Tesla. He loved almost everything about that car. The one thing he hated? Not having access to CarPlay. It will be interesting to see how things go for GM. More news in a moment, but first a word from Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit and sponsor of today's show. How do you beat the heat and eat well this summer? Factor is a great way to do it. No boiling, no frying, just 10 minutes in the oven or 2 minutes in the microwave if you want to keep the kitchen cool, and you are eating very well. But the kitchen isn't the only place to beat the heat. Factor choices are sustainable choices. They offset 100% of their delivery emissions and source 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices. Of course, none of that means a thing if the food isn't good. Well, the meals that I've had from Factor have been fantastic, like the sun-dried tomato chicken on their keto menu or the al pastor shredded pork on the calorie counter. Yes, a delicious shredded pork on the calorie counter menu. You really should check them out. Head to factormeals.com/macOSKen50 and use code macOSKen50 to get 50% off. That's code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 to get 50% off. Taste what is made Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Use code macOSKen50 for 50% off at factormeals.com/macOSKen50. There's another pair of limited edition Beats out there. Mac Rumors says the headphone maker is tied up on their third collaboration with Fragment design founder Hiroshi Fujiwara. The piece says Beats and Fujiwara issued limited edition pairs of Power Beats Pro and Beats Flex back in 2021. Now the two have outed a similarly designed pair of Beats Fit Pro. If you're not sure which one those are, they're a lot like AirPods Pro, but with flexible wing tips instead of the AirPod stubs. They also don't have a wireless charging case, though they do come in a range of colors. Speaking of which, the Fragment stoppers come in 2 monochromatic limited edition versions, or maybe did by the time you hear this. Offered in pure white or ink black, Apple's site showed the white pair as sold out as of Monday afternoon. AFC Richmond's Coach Beard is back for a new season, though not a new season of Ted Lasso. Cult of Mac says Brendan Hunt and Rebecca Lowe are returning for a second season of their soccer podcast, After the Whistle. Season 1 of the show covered last year's Men's World Cup. This year, the cult says Lowe and Hunt will focus on the 2023 Women's World Cup. Apple says the two hosts will recap the most exciting moments of the tournament, break down key plays, wins, upsets, and off-field moments, and be joined by a slate of special guests. Season 2 of After the Whistle premieres on Apple News and Apple Podcasts on the 19th of July with a preview of the tournament, which begins on the 20th. You can hear the Season 2 trailer now through either service. And finally today, the first official trailer of the Apple original Napoleon is out. And boy, does it make me uneasy. Not that it looks bad. It looks great. It also looks disturbing, menacing, and really bloody. According to Apple's description, Napoleon is a spectacle-filled action epic that details the checkered rise and fall of the iconic French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, played by Oscar winner Joaquin Phoenix. Against a stunning backdrop of large-scale filmmaking orchestrated by legendary director Ridley Scott, the film captures Bonaparte's relentless journey to power through the prism of his addictive, volatile relationship with his one true love, Josephine, showcasing his visionary, military, and political tactics against some of the most dynamic, practical battle sequences ever filmed. Sounds bloody. That said, having watched the trailers for both this and Killers of the Flower Moon, if Apple is competing against Apple for Best Picture at next year's Academy Awards, I would not be a bit surprised. You can catch the trailer for Napoleon on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Issue. Get 50% off an annual premium account with code macOS Ken at issue.com/podcast. This show is also sponsored by Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Use code macOSKen50 at factormeals.com/macOSKen50 for 50% off your first box. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macOSKen.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray. I'm a podcaster.